In Texas, you might have to show your photo ID to buy a sex toy online. A man abandons his suicide attempt for shawarma, and Albertans are second most likely in Canada to be abducted by aliens. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a solo man in a closet. In Texas, you could have to show your photo identification to buy a sex toy online. Just want to let you know up top, I'm going to be talking about sex toys in this particular segment. I'm going to be using the word dildo. So, just want to make sure you're aware. If there's children around, maybe you don't want to have that talk right now. So, we have here a newly introduced bill in Texas that would require online buyers to show a photo ID before buying a dildo. Texas, government so small it fits in your panties. Isn't that right, guys? We have this bill that was introduced by a senator named Angela. She is the wife of Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. He must be an important individual. He probably doesn't allow Angela to own too many sex toys because, those Texas politicians, they hate competition, as you know. It says here, the bill would criminally charge online retailers for selling what they're calling an obscene device without verifying the buyer's age. An obscene device. Wow, that's pretty strong language there. I would not have chosen the adjective obscene to describe a sex toy. But, fear is a very effective tactic to get your stupid law pushed through. It says sellers would have to require customers to submit their government-issued photographic identification or use third-party age verification services that use public records or other reliable sources to verify the purchaser's identity and age. So making it a little more difficult to purchase a sex toy in Texas. In similar news, Clem's Cucumber Farm in San Antonio is about to take off. Cucumber Farm. Come on, guys. Yeah, last I checked, you didn't have to show your ID to buy very large carrots, right? Hey, that's not how you make pickles, lady. What are you doing? Okay, now this article goes on to describe some other very strange laws surrounding sex toys in Texas. I don't know if you were aware of this, but there is a 6 dildo law in the state of Texas which criminalizes the possession of 6 or more obscene devices, which are defined as, quote, a device including a dildo or artificial vagina designed or marketed as useful primarily for the stimulation of human genital organs. Meanwhile, in Texas, you can own 600 guns and 1 trillion bullets. It's no problem. I live in the only country where it's easier to get a gun than a sex toy. Can you imagine? I mean, if you think you're living in a dystopian reality, you are. You really are. Well, at least we are in America. Here's a tip. If you order 6 or more vibrators, you don't want to be arrested for them. Just somehow reconfigure them to shoot bullets, and then you'll be okay with those. Now, the article goes on to say that, like age verification laws for websites, the bill would make buying sex toys online harder for everyone, not just minors, and would send consumers to less safe retailers with lower quality, possibly dangerous sex toys. Wow, watch out for those dangerous ones. And also, like those other laws, people who do upload their government ID or undergo other age verification measures could risk having their purchases exposed to a hostile government. Ooh. I mean, you'll be on a list, of course. You'd be on a dildo purchasing list. Oh no, I'm on the cannabis purchasing list and the dildo purchasing list at the same time. That's probably a red flag. I'm going to get a knock on my door. We're from the government. We're looking for contraband and obscene devices. We know you have them. Now, I'm assuming that some people don't want their name on a I bought a dildo list, even if they are over 18. They're going to be purchasing their sex toys on the black market? You think there's going to be a black market for sex toys? You're going to meet someone in an alley to buy a dildo and a dozen eggs. We have a lawyer here named Lieberman who says the government should not have a record of what sex toys we buy. This isn't just frivolous concerns. In a nation where the president has declared that there are only 2 genders and that transgender people don't exist, where trans people are erased from government websites and kicked out of the military, it would be dangerous for the government to have a record that you purchase sex toys designed for trans people. Designed for trans people? What is this person talking about? Are there specific sex toys designed for trans people? I've never heard of that. I just thought we all use the same sex toys. We just, we all have our flavors. Back in my day, you had to make a dildo out of things that you found around the house. It was very humbling to be, using a hairbrush handle for pleasure. I mean, I didn't, but I heard stories. Let's just say that some people had their what I called weekend zucchini. So that was that should be on a T-shirt. Weekend zucchini. Now, Texas lawmakers have been trying to limit access to sex toys for their constituents for many years, in case you don't know. In late 2024, Hillary Hickland, a freshman member of Texas's Republican House, introduced a bill that would ban retailers in the state of Texas from selling sex toys, unless they file paperwork to become sexually oriented businesses, effectively forcing stores such as Walmart, CVS, and Target, which sell vibrators and other sex toys, to take those products off their shelves, and forcing brick-and-mortar boutiques to verify the ages of all customers. So, I mean, the fear of sex toys in Texas is real, at least when it comes to Republican lawmakers. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of dildo buyback program in the future. So if you got over 6 dildos, guys, go to the dildo buyback program and get rid of a few. Don't drop them off at Goodwill, please. I don't want to cover that story again. Now, one of the fallouts of making it difficult to get a hold of sex toys that is not mentioned in this article that I came up with, that I think is appropriate, is if people are pushed into a place where they're going to have to improvise various sex toys, you're going to have more ER visits. You just are. I mean, talk to any ER nurse, and they have stories of what people come into the ER inside them. You know what I mean? Crazy things. A man abandoned his suicide attempt for shawarma. A 33-year-old Turkish man known as the Suicide Traveler attempted to take his life for the 232nd time. The Suicide Traveler tried to take his life 232 times. Did you hear about this individual? He's apparently famous for trying to kill himself. Well, anyways, he abandoned his attempt at trying to kill himself this time, the 232nd time. He was climbing the rooftop of a 5-story building in a place called Antalya. I'm not sure where this is. He was carrying a knife, a noose, and a plastic bottle filled with gasoline. Wow, this guy was he had suicide ADHD. He knew he wanted to commit suicide, but he couldn't decide on the method. So he brought a knife, a noose, and some gasoline in case he wanted. He's like, maybe I'll light myself on fire. No, maybe I'll hang myself. Oh, what about I stab myself? I got the suicide ADHD. His actions caused panic among passersby. Emergency responders, including police, firefighters, and medics, rushed to the scene to de-escalate the situation. I'm sure some of the same people that tried to de-escalate this situation have found themselves confronted by this man in the past. He's tried to kill himself 232 times. They're like, oh, geez, this again? This guy? What did we use last time? Pizza. All right, let's try shawarma. During the negotiations, the man admitted he was extremely hungry. Officers promptly ordered him a shawarma, which led him to abandon his suicide attempt. It worked. Wow, there's hangry, and then there's this guy. He's just going to kill himself every time he's hungry. There's easier ways to get yourself a delicious lunch, by the way. Do you all know what a shawarma is? I probably should have asked that up top, but, I'm not a professional newscaster, so I also don't have a team behind me telling me that I'm making these mistakes as I go. Okay, I looked up shawarma as a definition. I know what it is, but I'm not really sure how to talk about it. I love them. If you do look up shawarma, it says a Middle Eastern dish that originated in the Levant during the Ottoman Empire. Wow, the Ottoman Empire did some good things. Probably the best thing, shawarma. It consists of meat that is cut into thin slices, stacked in an inverted cone, and roasted on a slow-turning vertical spit. Traditionally made with lamb or mutton, it may also be made with chicken, turkey meat, beef, falafel, or veal. The surface of the rotisserie meat is routinely shaved off once it cooks and is ready to be served. Shawarma is a popular street food throughout the Arab world and the greater Middle East. Yeah, and also in London and in New York City. I mean, it's everywhere. Oh, when I was in New York, did I eat shawarma? Did I eat the shawarma? Oh, I loved the shawarma. And the good thing is that this man, the Suicide Traveler, loves shawarma. How do I know? Well, you should see a picture of his face after he was taken down from the high ledge. and he's got a shawarma in his hand, and he's smiling. This is exactly what he needed. Now, I'm not sure how the rescue team came to the conclusion that he needed a shawarma to get him down off the ledge. I would have loved to have been there, listening to the negotiator over the megaphone. So, do you want red sauce or white sauce on the shawarma? Red sauce or white sauce? I always get both. And if you know, you know. Well, according to the Turkish media, this man has gained notoriety for his repeated suicide attempts across the country, earning him the nickname Suicide Traveler. Despite continuous rescue efforts and psychological support, he persists in his tragic endeavors. He continues to be the Suicide Traveler. I'm guessing he's not that serious about suicide. If he's, has 232 attempts, that's, at some point, I mean, you got to chalk this up to attention seeking. 232 times, come on. Do they all end in food deliveries? This guy's not so much the suicide traveler, he's the suicide DoorDasher. Anyone tell him you can just download an app for this and have the food delivered right to you? You don't have to climb the side of a building with a can of gasoline in between your teeth. All right, that's the end of the article. They don't even give the dude's name. I Googled Suicide Traveler Instagram and Suicide Traveler TikTok because I just was wondering, is he, posting on social media his attempts? Is this some sort of suicide influencer? But nothing came up. Now, what he ought to do is just team up with a local shawarma place for sponsorship. He could be the spokesperson of a shawarma shop, right? They could make this guy the face of their brand. Every commercial, a different way he's about to kill himself, and then they swoop in with the shawarma. Ta-da! I mean, that would be viral ad campaign after viral ad campaign. And you'll sell a lot of shawarma, and maybe you'll even prevent suicides. And you team up with the suicide organizations as well. Suicide's no joke. All right, this is no longer funny, and this story made me want shawarma. Albertans are the second most likely people in Canada to be abducted by aliens. Strange title, strange story. It's something I came across. I don't know. I thought it would be weird. And you know what really pushed this through for me to cover it is it was recently Alien Abduction Day. Are you guys familiar? March 20th was apparently Alien Abduction Day. More on that later. Let's cover this story. Have you ever looked at the night sky and saw a colored light that traveled too fast for a moving plane, or maybe a couple odd shapes flashing different colored lights? You wouldn't be the only one. Well, last Thursday marked that quirky day known as National Alien Abduction Day, but how likely is it that it could happen to you or someone you know getting abducted? Now, Albertans are the second most likely province or territory to be most likely abducted by aliens, according to data from the Canadian government here. According to the National UFO Reporting Center, 1 in 700 Albertans reported sighting a UFO. Ontario is at the top of the list to be the most likely to be abducted because they have 1 in 667 people that have sighted a UFO. So slightly higher, but that doesn't mean abduction. That just means seeing a UFO. I see how they twisted this story. It says the province territory least likely to be abducted by aliens is Newfoundland and Labrador, with 1 UFO sighting for every 8,962 people. I don't know if this is a bit of a stretch to say that if just because you see more UFOs, you're more likely to be abducted. Maybe, I don't know. I think it would be more likely to correlate alcoholism with alien abductions, which Canada is a perfect place to do a study like this. They like to drink up there. The Irish as well. The Irish, well, as you know, the Irish drank a lot, still drink a lot, and they're the most people to visit Fairyland. So they're known for Fairyland. They're known for seeing fairies. You don't go to any other place you see this many fairies or hear stories of people being abducted by fairies and taken into Fairyland. That's Guinness. Lots of Guinness. Now, in Canada, they have really taken some steps to study UFOs. In 2022, the Sky Canada project was launched and is being led by the Office of the Chief Science Advisor of Canada. The project was created to investigate how UFO sightings in Canada are handled. It's the first known Canadian government UFO research project in nearly 30 years. The report's most significant recommendation is for the Canadian government to establish a dedicated service to manage and analyze UAP data. They even have a website here where you can report a UFO sighting to the government of Canada here. I went to the website. It's enter the date and location. And then it says, where were you when you saw it? It gives you some choices. I was on land. I was in a boat. I was flying in an aircraft. Well, it sounds like you're missing a very important option there, Canada. Were you at the bar? That would be, that's important to know. Okay, now I'm going into the Alien Abduction Day so we can learn a little bit about this. I'd never heard of this day, but it sounds fun. Alien Abduction Day is for those who believe they've been abducted by aliens in the past and for those who want or expect to be abducted by aliens today or in the future. I don't know how you can expect to be. I can see why you would want to be abducted by an alien, especially if you're in Canada. It's way better than becoming the 51st state of the U.S., isn't it? Anyone expect to be abducted by aliens? Well, this is your day. It is also for all who are interested in stories about alien abductions. It says on March 20th, 2008, Happy Worker, a custom toy manufacturer in Toronto, Canada, held the Alien Abduction Festival to celebrate all things extraterrestrial and sci-fi for alien fanatics and creative types alike. It is unclear when Alien Abduction Day started. It may have started with this event, but they claim it existed before that. Sounds like alien abduction in Canada is a big thing. Now, I have a lot of listeners in Canada. You guys can confirm that alien abduction is popular up there? A lot of people been abducted, want to be abducted. I still think it's related to the Molson intake, if you ask me. Or straight boredom. It's probably pretty boring in Alberta, I'd imagine. So taking an interstellar adventure would be welcome, I'd imagine. I mean, if I lived in a place that it was freezing temperatures for half the year, yeah, I'd probably get very drunk and welcome a butt probe as well. I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio. Sing along with me, everyone. If you haven't been abducted and you're still listening to this podcast, this is the outro. If you happen to be abducted, then please spread the word of Weird AF News to whatever corner of the universe they've taken you to. You know, the aliens probably would enjoy Weird AF News. I mean, let's just be real, right? And you can learn a lot about Earth culture just by listening to Weird AF News. Can't you? I mean, I think so. But then again, I'm biased. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for putting up with me today. I'm in a weird mood and I'm highly caffeinated, but hey, you know, we're doing it, guys. We're doing it. Everybody's doing it. If you haven't subscribed to the show, just this is what it is. So think about that before you do so. You know, subscribe at your own risk, I would say. If you want to support the show, there's some ways you can do it. You can buy me coffees or you can join my Patreon. The Patreon, Jonesy, I'm interested in that option. Option B. Oh, I'm so glad you're into option B, the Patreon. Let me tell you a little bit about that. You join the Patreon, it's like buying Jonesy a beer every month. Isn't that pretty cool? Why wouldn't you want to buy me a beer every month? I'm over here sweating in a damn closet 5 days a week for you. And then what else do you get with the Patreon, Jonesy? Oh, so glad you asked about what else you get. You get bonus episodes. You get film recommendations. You get personal anecdotes about what's going on in my life. Show updates. All kinds of stuff I put in there, yeah? It's pretty cool, the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/weirdafnews or weirdafnews.com to do that. To do that dance. Anyways, if you want to email the show, it's funnyjones@gmail.com. I'm also on Instagram @funnyjones. And if you come across some weird news from the week and you think it would be appropriate for the show, please just send me the link. I'll give it a listen, or a read, rather. I'll take a look at it. Usually I start with the title, and then I decide. But, yeah, if you think you got something, send it on over. And be cool. Stay in school.